Yo, what's happening, everyone? What's going on, man? Welcome into a brand new edition of Snaps. Hopefully, your favorite college football podcast. Maybe you're just listening for the first time. Welcome. We are very happy to have you here. I don't care if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, whatever. If you're watching on YouTube, we're here on the Volume Sports YouTube channel every single day, youtube.com/The Volume. Hit the like button, subscribe, rate and review wherever you get your pods. And, we're very happy to be here. We love doing this show. We love talking about college football. And if you're a college football nerd, we believe that you're going to love it as well. I am one of your hosts, T-Bob Hebert, former LSU offensive lineman, all SEC honorable mention. Thank you very much. Coaches team, Aaron, not media. Never forget. And then we have this other guy, Aaron Murray. He was pretty good in college. He was all right. Couple SEC records to his name, for how long, nobody knows. Probably not too much longer, though with the coaching change, maybe. Aaron Murray, QB1, what's up? Are you still yelling at your wife about now not toasting your pub sub?
It's a little bit concerning. Like, who doesn't toast a pub sub? Like, when you get to the line and you're going through and you have the option, who doesn't say, yes, I want to go toast this sub? So
I don't like all my subs toasted.
You don't.
I get a cold cut. I get a cold cut sandwich almost every day.
No. Yeah, but if you had the option, if you're a Publix,
I wouldn't. No, not all the time.
I did make her feel better though. I didn't get mad at her, but I was a little, I like, really? I said it does make you appreciate it when it is toasted. So the next time I do go to Publix and get a toasted sub, it will taste that much sweeter knowing that I had to go through the tough time of eating a sub from Publix that wasn't toasted.
What is the definition of gaslighting for 500, Alex?
I do like the really technique. As someone who's been in a very long relationship for over half my life now, sometimes, directly attacking is not the best. You do what my sister does. My sister loves to do this. I'm just confused. I'm just confused. I just don't get it. Like, I just don't, I'm not mad. I'm just confused. Like, why don't you toast up? I don't get it. What's up? Like, really? Like, I figure you go to Publix, you get the sub, they offer you a toast, like you get a toast. Like, I just, look, I don't understand. Maybe you can explain it to me. I don't know. Whatever. Hey, toast a sub next time, okay?
Toast a damn sub.
Now,
I don't want cold cheese. I want the cheese melted on top of the turkey.
And for those that don't know, Aaron's wife, the woman that he is yelling at, is not only stunningly good looking immediately after having 2 children, but is also a lawyer. Okay, so relax there, Aaron Murray.
I know I should.
I don't think. See, so I kind of disagree with the premise of this chat question. Brum, if you're listening on podcast, said should subs be toasted or untoasted? Different subs require different things. Different cravings require, like, sometimes you crave a toasted sub, sometimes you crave a cold cut. I don't think it's all just cut and dry one way. Y'all remember the old Quiznos commercials? I got in a random Quiznos nostalgic rabbit hole the other day, and I was watching the commercials of the 2 little rats, and they're like, "We toast the subs." Does anybody have any idea what I'm talking about here? No, nothing. No. Brum, do you know? You normally get what I'm putting down. Do you know what I'm talking about here?
Normally, yes. This is not one of those times.
No. Okay. Can you look up then, while we're prattling on about college football, can you look up Quiznos "We Toast the Subs" commercial and see if you think we could play it? Because I don't know if Quiznos exists anymore. And
no, it does. It does. It's phenomenal.
Oh, it does? Okay.
Probably my top sub place. Yeah.
It's a wild commercial, though. Whoever got paid to make it, I kind of love. Very, like, early 2000s internet-y. All right, so topics on today's show. And, hey, we know we love everybody hanging out in the chat. Thank you, JC. He says, I love the show. I love you, JC. I love you, Chow Time, Red and Black Dog, Caleb, Thomas Dare, Andy J, Bludgeon Broadcasting. I love seeing new names in here, man. We got a bunch of the old favorites. We got new names every day. We're helping to grow. And, again, if you want to help grow the show, you can do a few things. Sign up FanDuel Sportsbook, got promo code SNAPS. And please rate and review it wherever you listen to your pods. All right, so to get today, should Stetson Bennett have his number retired? And Brum, I have found you a gift, okay? I dove deep inside of Aaron Murray, and we have crafted a take that I think you are going to thoroughly enjoy, Brum, and it involves Stetson Bennett and Will Levis. We are also going to talk about how Lane Kiffin's basically out here channeling the old early 2000s video game meme, all your quarterbacks belong to us, as yet another big-time transfer quarterback has chosen to take his talents to Oxford, this time with the help of the guidance of God, apparently, from his tweet. And then we'll get into some of the top new assistant hires. These things are coming fast and heavy. I mean, we touched on Garrett Riley, but there's Pete Golden, Ole Miss. There's Brian Hartline, I know, C at Ohio State. Kendall Browse, TCU. Now Dan Enos to Arkansas, the latest. We're going to shout out. We're going to talk about a lot of it today. Shout out to you as well, Darth Janus. Just saw you in there, my friend. Yes, here it is. Can you play this with audio, bro? look at this thing, dude. This is you yelling at Sharon about toasting yourself.
Toast my sub.
Toast tasty. Yeah, because they toasted him. It's really dumb. It's really.
If my son saw
you're
this,
the one always yelling at us.
Tonight.
Brum, you're the one always yelling at us about this is mainly an audio medium, and you have the audacity to play that commercial without sound.
I know, that's on me. I'm working on that now.
Okay, let me know when you have the sound. All right, let's get to what our favorite topic of this early snaps offseason has been, and that's the diminutive, hard-hearted little man himself, Mr. Stetson Bennett. And the question and the question now is, well, we got the Stetson Levis take, but should Stetson Bennett have his number retired? And to start this conversation, Aaron, I will lean on you and the rest of Bulldog Nation, who likes to hang out here in the chat.
Yep.
Who are the good number 13s in Georgia history? Because, like, that's key in any jersey retirement situation. Is there an elite? Like, Champ Bailey didn't wear 13, did he?
No. Okay.
All right,
so these are the numbers that that's just little Georgia history here. I actually had to look this up, too. The numbers that are retired at the University of Georgia, number 21, Frank Sinkwich. Number 34, Herschel Walker. Number 40, Theron Sapp, and then number 62, Charlie Trippy. So there's 4. There have been 4 all-time greats. You get your number retired. That is pretty badass.
Question.
Yes.
Are none of those players are from the modern era?
No.
Like, despite a lot of good Georgia football, right? Like, I don't recognize any of those names.
Sinkwich was 1943. Herschel was the most recent, 85. Sapp was 59, and then Trippy was 1947. So it's been a minute since a number has been retired. So,
second question.
Obviously,
sorry.
Yes.
Are all of those people tied to national championship teams?
All right. Let me give you a little bio. Sinkwich became Georgia's first Heisman Trophy winner in 1942. He led Georgia to 11-1 record and won the Rose Bowl. He was an All-American. The
Heisman explains that. We don't even need to go past Heisman.
Yeah. Charlie was an unanimous All-American selection, Maxwell Award winner. So there you go. Team captain. They went undefeated. So, you pretty much have to win a major award or win a national championship in order to get it retired. So Stetson was up for the Heisman, didn't win it. Stetson won 2 natties, which no one else has ever done in Georgia history, won an SEC championship. So by criteria-wise and the position he plays and the stats that he put up, I would say, yes, Stetson probably should get that number 13 retired. And we all know how I feel about getting not only the number retired, but a possible statue outside the stadium as well. So go big. Why not? Go big. Go big for the greatest story in Georgia history. If you're going to do it right. I mean, Josh Brooks, the man led you to 2 natties. It's one of the greatest. I mean, it's literally the greatest story since what's the movie?
Baker Mayfield?
No, not Baker.
Rudy?
I mean, he was a former walk-on that won the Heisman, dude. What are you talking about?
It's true.
Dude, Rudy,
it's the best story since
Baker
Rudy.
Mayfield is a significantly better story than Rudy. Like, I love Rudy. I've actually hung out with the real Rudy Rudiger multiple times through some random walk-ons connections. Like, I like Rudy in real life. I like the Rudy movie, but Baker and Stetson's story smashes Rudy. Stetson's a former walk-on Baker's former walk-on that went on to win the Heisman and made a playoff and made a Final Four, right? Like Stetson, a former walk-on who
and
had
the number one pick
whatever,
in the
we all
draft.
know the story.
Why don't we give Baker more
and
love
number
for
one pick
that?
in the
Like,
draft.
what's the big difference? Like, what is the big difference? Like, why isn't Baker's story as loved?
Well, because Stetson won the championships. Stetson won the championship.
Yeah, but Baker won a Heisman.
And that's what it comes down to. No,
He
I know, but it doesn't matter. Championships rule over everything in American sports. Yeah.
And Baker's what?
Well,
yeah, I mean,
okay. Well, Stetson's going down the path.
Yeah,
he's getting pretty hard himself.
Yeah.
Now, Aaron, but let's unpack.
See, I never thought Baker was a dick. I thought Baker was a little bit childish with some of his antics, like grabbing his crotch and stuff. Like, I never felt like he was vicious to his fans or teammates or media members. It was just more like he was a competitor and he was ruthless on the field to his opponents. Like, I don't know if I consider that him being a dick. I just think he's an extreme competitor.
Yeah, I got no problem with Baker. The only thing that disappoints me about Baker is I was always a hardcore believer that Baker was going to be badass in the NFL, and it just really fell apart very quickly. Like, he still was good. Like, he was an above average quarterback 2 years ago, and I don't know if it was the shoulder injuries or what, but like, it's all, I don't know.
He played well this year for the Rams. He did play well this year for the Rams. He did.
And if the NFL has taught us anything, and this does carry over to college, if the NFL has taught us anything this season, Aaron, it is the impact of situation when evaluating players, especially players at the quarterback position, right? Look at what some coaching changes have been able to create in quarterbacks that we did not believe in, right? I mean, look at freaking Trevor Lawrence, dude. Go from the joke of the Urban Meyer joke to a legit great NFL coach in Doug Peterson, and look at what it's done for Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. Like, look at Tua Tagovailoa and Mike McDaniel. McDaniel coming in there, understanding a bit more of how Tagovailoa ticks, how to get the most out of him. Like, setting really matters. So maybe there's hope left for Baker yet. It's also one of the reasons why Stetson is so good, right? I mean, look, Stetson was awesome in those games. But, Aaron, would you have 2 national championships if you played on these Georgia Bulldog teams?
I guess I have to answer that with a smile.
Cause they are good to us. The Quiznos subs. They are tasty, they are crunchy, they are warm because they toast them. They got a pepper bar.
Quiznos new Santa Fe Trio subs with smoky chipotle sauce. Try chicken, roast beef, or smoked turkey.
The Quiznos subs.
Quiznos.
Toast.
Quiznos subs. I forgot about the pepper bar, dude. The pepper bar was
one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen.
Who got how much did the person get paid that made that, bro? I mean, that's like hundreds of thousands of dollars, I'm sure, right? Like, that's expensive. That was a national commercial.
That's also a thing that's like probably took them days to edit. That would now you could probably do in 45 minutes on some app.
Yeah, somebody could do that on TikTok. Like 100% could rip that up. Oh, okay. Another great example of setting. Geno Smith, right?
Yeah.
Geno Smith.
Bro, I appreciate you coming in without me having to answer that question, by the way.
Yeah, so you saved him. You saved him. That was good timing. And then that's why I'm letting it go. I know you can't answer it. I think you would have won 2 national championships. Okay. I think I'm not taking away from Stetson, but
no.
You're playing on the best team in college. Okay. And so you did your job. And then some. But still, I think you were certainly capable of doing that. I'm not saying anybody is, saying you were.
But what's your thoughts? Setting matters. As an outsider, though, should he get his number retired?
So here's where it gets interesting. When I asked you that question, Aaron, you are the John the Baptist for Stetson Bennett, right? I mean, we've talked about this. You've been clearing the pathway, talking about how he's the best player in Georgia history, all of these things. And yet, just now, if we play the tape, when I asked you about a jersey retirement, there was no conviction in your voice. Like for someone who just a couple of weeks ago was pounding your chest about how this man needs a statue immediately, best player in Georgia history, for some reason, it seems like you feel a jersey retirement might be a step too far. and I'm wondering why.
Do you want me to just start jumping up and down? Do you want me to start jumping up and down and screaming and yelling and playing the jamboree? I don't know.
You said
yes,
maybe.
He deserves
You said
it.
maybe.
No,
you said maybe.
No, I didn't say maybe. I did not say maybe.
Yeah,
We'll have to run it back. Yes, he should. I will be more definitive now in my answer. Yes, Stetson Bennett should get a jersey retired, a statue, a movie, a documentary, maybe a building named after him, definitely a street. There should be a Bennett Road somewhere around the stadium. Like I said it. I said, Josh Brooks, go big. Go big. Do everything you possibly can for the guy that helped you lead you to back-to-back national championships. So, yes, this is the docket. First, I think you ease your way into it. Stetson Bennett Drive. Boom. Easy done. It's the first thing that needs to get done. We make a street after him somewhere in Athens. All right, that's the first step. Second step is...
Aaron is reading off of a giant whiteboard that he has prepared called the Stetson system. You were asking about the Stetson system.
Then we're doing number, and then we're doing a statue.
Plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. And then street, number, retirement, statue. And then you have to wait 10 years. Then you get into the Ring of Honor. So 10 years down the line, Ring of Honor. And then maybe down the line somewhere you name a building after him. That's 15, 20 years. If they don't win another natty in 15 years, then we consider naming a building after him.
So I agree that anytime a team wins back-to-back championships, the best player probably deserves to have his jersey retired. Is there a player in this 2-year run that has meant more to Georgia than Stetson Bennett?
So that's the interesting question. This is when we always get back to like who is considered the greatest. Like, were there more talented players on the roster these past 2 years? Yes, Brock Bowers.
I said meant more though. I didn't say talented. I said meant
no.
more.
I'm saying that, but this is the conversation people have. Like, there are more talented guys, but there hasn't been someone who has consistently made a difference. Like, Georgia has won games without Brock Bowers playing big time football. I mean, go to the Ohio State game. Brock had a good game, not a great game. Jalen had been hurt for a good majority of the season. It just seemed like the big games in which Georgia needed to win, even dating back to last season, Stetson was one of the main reasons why, if not the main reason why, they won it. Like, there's a reason why he was a 4-time MVP in the playoffs. So, like, yes, if Stetson wasn't there for those 4 playoff games, is Georgia the better team? Yes. Do they win? Most likely, but it's not as definitive as, the guy that everyone knows when the ball's in his hands in the fourth quarter is going to find a way to lead us down the field and score that last second touchdown. So, yes, sure. I don't think there is anyone that has meant more to Georgia during these last 2 years in order to get those championships.
All right. Then, even as an outsider, I agree with Domie the Dragon. Retire the jersey, easy, moving along. Moving along, Jake Hester, LSU great, former All-American, texted me and said, I think our boy Aaron is one something away from declaring that Stetson Bennett will be a better quarterback than Will Levis. I brought this up to you, Aaron Murray, and you have a take. Ooh. How do you think Stetson Bennett compares to Will Levis as an NFL prospect?
So Will Will may be the most talented quarterback in this draft. Like, there's no doubt about it. It's just, to me, that the talent has not shown. If you want to hear my reasons why, make sure you go listen to our show from yesterday, I believe, or maybe, yeah, it was a good video on that. So I kind of go into depth of why, if you haven't seen it in college, why do you expect to see it? Because of all the talent around him, essentially. So not saying that Stetson's going to get drafted higher, obviously, not saying Stetson's more talented, but when you look at first-round quarterbacks, and this is why I'm nervous about Will Levis, this is why I'm nervous about Anthony Richardson in this situation, is when you do get drafted in the first round, there is a level of expectation that you need to start in X amount of years, whether it's the first season or if not, you got to start by the second season. You have to hit these crazy stats, and if you don't do that, you're a bust. You are labeled as a bust, and then you're kind of driven out of the league. Because, people are going to bring you in to be a starter. If you're not a starter, then you're out. Where if you're brought in as a late round guy and people view you as just a backup, you're not a threat to the quarterback who is starting at that school. I keep saying school, at that NFL franchise. You can kind of stay behind the scenes, Chase Daniel style. Chase has never been a real threat to their starting quarterback. Chase does a great job of doing the dirty work, the film study, the grinding, and just helping the starter be prepared on Sunday. He's not a threat. And Chase has had one of the greatest careers of any quarterback. Like, it is a dream what Chase has done in his career. And I think Stetson can do that. Stetson can go because of what he can do on the football field. He's a high football IQ. He can learn a playbook. He can go out there and have success. If the starter gets hurt, he can go out there and play, and he can bounce around because he's never going to be, in my opinion, a major threat to a quarterback because he wasn't a first-round pick. So that's the difference. Like a starter, like EJ Maynard, for example, you play, EJ, maybe didn't hit expectations at Buffalo. He's out of the NFL now. The problem is because if he's labeled as his first-round quarterback, if a team picks him up, it's automatically looked at as a quarterback competition because we just brought in this former first-round pick. So that all being said, I think Stetson will have a longer career than Will Levis.
And there we go. Okay, so I have one. And we're not going to spend very long on this, but I do have a question on your theory then. With what we've seen out of Stetson now, Stetson's got a lot more alpha energy than we give him credit for. Is he someone who wants to play that Chase Daniel role? But is he someone that wants to play that Chase Daniel role? It's a very subservient role. I don't know if I see Stetson accepting that. And more so than that, I wonder why it is that these first-round quarterbacks end up washing out league. Because now, again, I think of a guy like Geno Smith, and he is someone that was a first-round bust, but then has stuck around, and now he's kind of been given second life here at some point. So, it's interesting. But, yeah, there you go, Brum. Headline, Aaron Murray, quote, Stetson Bennett will have a longer NFL career than Will Levis. Don't give any context, okay, because it's not what we do. We're looking for clicks. In fact, go ahead and make that the podcast title, Stetson greater than symbol Will Levis. Bam, done. Pack it up, folks. All right, it's been a good snaps. We'll see y'all later. You have a great day.
We hit our 20 minutes.
That's enough Stetson talk.
We've hit our Stetson quota for the week.
From one quarterback to, a few quarterbacks. As again, I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with the old video game meme of all your base R belong to us. It comes from the early days of video games when we get them from Japan, right? And localization of the English language is a very, very funny thing. But basically right now, Lane Kiffin's out here saying all your quarterbacks are belong to us. Come to Ole Miss. As not content with getting the former 5-star Walker Howard out of Baton Rouge into Oxford, the news breaks today that Spencer Sanders, Oklahoma State's quarterback, is now leaving and heading to Oxford. And this is not the lead, so we don't have to spend any time here, but side note, what the hell, Mike Gundy? What is going on in Stillwater? Just an awful offseason for Oklahoma. Literally all of your offensive starters, all your most productive guys are getting the hell up out of there. You got assistant coaches running away. Bad vibes around Mike Gundy right now. But this Spencer Sanders thing is weird on so many different fronts, Aaron. On one hand, from the Sanders deal, okay, he has 1 year of eligibility left. You are going to go to Ole Miss to be the starter. It tells me that Ole Miss is telling him he's going to be the starter. Jackson Dart had a statistically superior year than did Spencer Sanders. So it's like, why is Ole Miss telling Sanders that he's going to be the starter over Dart? Why is Walker Howard leaving a situation at LSU that is now the exact same situation that he's walking into in Oxford? I mean, at LSU, he was behind two people, right? Jaden Daniels, Garrett Nussmeier. Jaden Daniels, a fifth-year starter, going to be a fifth-year starter with 1 year of eligibility left. Well, Spencer Sanders, going to be a fifth-year starter with 1 year of eligibility left. And then in Nuss and Dart, you have two backups that have multiple years in him. So, I don't understand why necessarily Ole Miss is just giving the job to Sanders, it looks like. I don't understand why Walker Howard went there. And I don't understand really what they think of Jackson Dart or what Jackson Dart ends up doing, as he's already used his transfer to go from USC to Oxford. It's all very odd.
First off, Lane, the master of the transfer portal, should be getting defensive players, because it was the defense that crapped the bed last year and cost them a lot of those games. Like, focus on that side of the football, not your quarterback. I honestly, I'm a fan of Jackson Dart. Like, I thought Jackson Dart last year wasn't all SEC type guy, but I thought he was pretty good, especially with the situation he was put in. Let's not forget the first 4 games of the season was essentially a quarterback battle. It was going back and forth with him and Luke Altmaier of who's going to be the starter, once they kind of got through their preseason type schedule to start the season. So I thought he played well. His abilities remind me a lot of what Matt Corral did the year before. He's a really good athlete, good arm, can make plays with his legs, ran the RPO, the zone read extremely well, can do different arm angles. And it was his first season. So I'm like, okay, like, he played well year one. Give him the offseason, give him the confidence, give him the reps, give him, the next 7 months to know that, hey, man, we fully support you. We're going to give you every single thing you need in order to go out there and have success next year. And you kind of pulled the rug under from him. And I don't think Walker Howard maybe was a threat. But yes, bringing in Spencer Sanders is a major message, because there is no way Spencer Sanders is coming to Ole Miss his last season not essentially being somewhat told that, yeah, we expect you to be our starter. Because why else would he transfer there? He has one more opportunity to play college football. So, and I love what you said, T-Bob. Like, look at the stats. It's not like he blew anyone out of the water last year. You go back to the year before, Spencer Sanders was a turnover machine for the majority of his career.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a better option at all. I would rather stick with a guy that last year had really good moments, played well, can get better, is younger, has 2-3 years left to keep maturing, instead of just trying to get a flyer on I would say, an average quarterback in Spencer Sanders. So I know Lane knows the position. He knows the portal. But this one, I'm sorry, man. I
saying
cannot
to
wrap my hand around
interpret
this.
like, yeah, let's do our best to wrap our head around it. Then, does this tell you that Jackson Dart is done? Because obviously there's a bit of a local.
It tells me it's
there's
a
a local. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it does. It has to. Like, once again, like, why? Why else would Spencer Sanders transfer to Ole Miss for his last season?
Well, and sorry, I don't mean done starting. I mean even done at Ole Miss.
He already used his transfer. He already used his free go.
I know, but I don't understand. But then again, so I guess this story's a bit different for me because it does have a bit of a local tie. Obviously, Walker Howard is a Louisiana cat, 5-star quarterback. He grew up a huge LSU fan. He was one of those recruits where it's like, he's putting it on for the hometown. He's recruiting other players. So, like, people have invested all this ideas in who Walker Howard is eventually going to be for LSU. He leaves because he was multiple years away from seeing the field. Now he goes to Ole Miss. Like, is he still multiple years away?
Yeah.
Or does he immediately beat out Jackson Dart? Like, I don't know if there's any guarantee there until it becomes odd. It's like, how did Lane convince him to go? What is the difference in going there? And make no mistake.
I'll try. Who's the bigger loser? Who's the bigger loser? Who's the bigger loser? Walker Howard or Jackson Dart in this whole situation?
Well, that's the weirdest part about it. Jackson Dart had no agency here. Walker Howard knew Spencer Sanders was going to Ole Miss. We talked about it on a local podcast here last night at length that Spencer Sanders was going to be there. And a guy that I co-host that show with, Scone T, who's very plugged in, the afternoon guy here in Louisiana, he talked to Jamie Howard, Walker's dad, for a while, and he talked about how they knew Spencer Sanders was going to be there. And they were cool with sitting for a year, but then they would start the next year. So it's like Jackson Dart is just being completely ignored. The idea coming out of that camp is that Ole Miss is moving on from Jackson Dart somehow, which I don't know how, because like you said, he already used his one-time transfer. I guess maybe he could apply for a hardship, but like, what happens if they all get
Ole Miss doesn't care if he can't transfer. Ole Miss doesn't care that he can't transfer. That's not their priority.
Yes, it's not Ole Miss' problem. You're right. You're right.
It's not Ole Miss's problem that he's kind of, shit out of luck and he has to stay at Ole Miss, or, he can transfer. He just would have to sit out a year if he did want to go somewhere else. So,
but what did they promise Walker? What did they promise Walker Howard?
They probably promised him one more year, then you're going to be our guy. And listen, I've said it before. Like, Lane Kiffin to me is one of the best developers of the quarterback position out there. Like, if I'm a quarterback coming out right now, there's 3 spots that I would love to go to if I want to take my game to another level. Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss would be one of them. Another one would probably be going out to USC. Another one, I really do like what Georgia does in their offense. Those would be my top 3. I'm going to Lane Kiffin. I'm going, out to USC. I'm going to Georgia. There's top talent. There's great development, really good offenses. So, I think he looked at it as like, okay, let me go learn a year from Lane Kiffin, sit behind a guy that's played a lot of football. If he comes in there and craps the bed, then maybe I get an opportunity to play next year. But I just think the whole wild card in this thing is still Jackson Dart, because, I know Lane gets paid a lot more money than me to judge quarterbacks, but it's hard for me to say that he did not play well, and we're only giving him essentially 3 months to prove himself. I just think it's a little bit unfair to the kid, but this is a dog eat dog world, man. If the expectations are Matt Corral or bust, and you don't reach that expectation, then yeah, because of the portal, coaches can go out there and try to improve positions they feel like they need to improve. I don't think it needs to be improved, but obviously Lane does.
Well, and in terms of Lane being a quarterback developer, this is the kind of perfect controlled experiment to judge that, right? Because Jackson Dart, okay, so Spencer Sanders last season completed 57% of his passes, 2,600 yards, 17 touchdowns, 9 picks. Jackson Dart, 62% of his passes, so 5% higher, 290 yards, so 300 more, 20 touchdowns, and 11 picks. So 3 more touchdowns, 2 more picks.
And
so
614 rush yards too. He was a hell of a runner.
Wow, 614 rush.
614
I did not realize that.
rush yards, 4.8 yards per carry, and a touchdown on the ground.
So the reason why I call this a controlled experiment is that basically Lane is saying, yes, Sanders did not put up the numbers that my guy did, but I believe his raw potential is such that combined with my coaching, he will be even better than my guy was last year. And I'm going to be fascinated to see if Lane can actually pull that off.
I'm just going back. So you just gave Spencer Sanders stats from last year. The year before, Spencer Sanders, 20 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Year before that, Spencer Sanders, 14 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Like, I just don't know, man, what has he shown you in his career at Oklahoma State that gives you confidence that, because he didn't get better. Like, there was not this giant rise of like, okay, Spencer Sanders is here now, and then all of a sudden in 2 years he's up here, and you're like, okay, well, there's, maybe there's even a little bit more juice to be had. He's proven in 3 years who he is. You know what you're getting. You're getting an average quarterback. You're getting a quarterback with a long delivery. You're getting a quarterback that at times has been very turnover prone. Like, it's not a sexy get to me. Like, it's not. Like, Spencer Sanders is a guy that if you don't have a quarterback, you get because he's experienced. Not a place where you have a returning starting quarterback, another young quarterback in Walker Howard coming in that you think has potential to then come in there and compete. He's literally on his last leg, a guy that to me came back this year because he knows he's not going to get drafted. Like, that's the player you're getting right now. And I don't want to turn this into a bash Spencer Sanders segment, but he's average. He's average, man. Like, he does, to me, he does not improve your team. Bringing in Spencer Sanders does not take your team to another level, Lane Kiffin, at all.
So you're saying Spencer Sanders more like Spencer Blanders.
Yeah, Bland.
Yeah. How about this? Just Spencer Blanders, Jackson Fart, Walker Coward, all competing at Ole Miss for the quarterback's job. Let's see who ends up winning. See who ends up winning. Guess what? It won't matter. Because they're going to go 8-5.
What's their schedule next year? Can he do the famous Lane Kiffin quarterback carousel for the first few games of the season and just give everyone a start? Well, they can. So their first game is Mercer, Tulane, Georgia Tech. So you know what Lane's going to do? Spencer, you're going to get Mercer. Dart, you get Tulane. And, Young Buck, you get Georgia Tech. And then whoever wins that, you have one game to start. And then after that, you get to go on the road to Alabama, then face LSU. Good luck. like, what are we doing here? I know you joke and you make fun of me because I'm a prima donna quarterback, but it is a different position. You know it is. Like, I'm not an offensive lineman just blocking the dude in front of me. I have to know protections. I have to know route concepts. I have to know defenses. I have the timing with my receivers and running backs. I have to have the communication with the offensive line. There's a lot more that goes into it, T-Bob, than blocking the dude in front of you. Wow, I love my big boys up front.
In front of you. I mean, You're talking about us like we're defensive
I need
linemen.
those
You're
reps.
talking about us like we're
I need
defensive
those reps.
linemen, okay? And it's offensive,
block.
okay?
There's a dude standing in front of you. Just don't let him touch me. Just
Well, guess
get
what?
in his
Sometimes
way.
I'm only supposed to block half that dude, okay? And then I got to get to another dude. And sometimes I got to block back and not even hit that dude and block this other dude. And sometimes I got to pull and block this dude. Or I got to be aware when they're running a gut cross that I got to take the first guy across my face, leave the second one for back. Look, there's a lot of I got to pin Polly. Get the fuck out of here. We're not D-linemen,
There's
okay?
like four things. Those are four things you have to worry about. Four. Just fucking block them.
Okay. Yes, I mean your point does stand. Well, it's
So
not
we
as
need
easy as
more
some
reps.
positions. It is not as
We
hard
need more
at
reps.
quarterback. Well, there's not going to be enough reps to give out now for Fart Coward or Blanders, so we'll see how it works out. Shout out Lane Kiffin, though. Again, I want to be clear. This is not a like Aaron was exactly right. This is not a Lane or Ole Miss problem. This is good for them. Throw a ton of guys against the wall and see who sticks.
I think it is a problem.
It is. But I mean, I don't know. I don't want to go too hard because what if we're wrong and they really have an open competition and they just start Jackson Dart because he wins it and they're just bring guys in to push him? Like they're only wrong if they've already made a predetermined decision. Like if they've already made a predetermined decision where absolutely Sanders is starting, that's when I think it's wrong. If it's all been smoke and mirrors and they've been lying to these kids and it's going to be an open competition like it should be, then I actually don't kind of hate that. It's a little greasy. It's a little greasy, but it leads to a really great quarterback room.
I think it's silly with Spencer. And we say this about, JT Daniels, who's, been across the country back and forth. He had one opportunity to go somewhere where he knew he could start. Like, why would you risk as a quarterback going to a place where a returning starting quarterback is coming back who had a better statistical season than you did at your university?
Yeah,
guy knows the playbook, knows the roster, has the respect in the locker room. Why would you risk it unless you knew concrete from Lane Kiffin that this is your job to lose?
Yeah, no, I mean, look, time will tell. Time will tell. We'll see where it ends up. It's odd on multiple fronts though. Outside looking in, though, again, if handled correctly, it's still a win for Ole Miss. Because whoever emerges from that competitive competition should be good. Like whether it's Dart, Sanders, Howard, whoever wins that battle should be good because we think that's three pretty quality guys going toe-to-toe. See, Dart Janus says competition breeds I said pretty quality. Okay. Competition breeds excellence. That's what Georgia's literally founded on. That's what. So what's wrong with Ole Miss doing it? Well, I don't know. Aaron just told you he doesn't want competition at that quarterback position, dude.
What helps Stetson take his game to another level this year? Because I've talked about this with Stetson. And sorry.
Because he actually had the coach's backing, you're saying.
Well, he had the coach's backing, and he had the entire spring, summer, and fall camp as QB1 to actually get ready for a season. Like year one to year two is massive jump, especially when you're in the same offense. There's another level of comfort with being on the same page with the offensive coordinator, seeing eye to eye what they want to call, what you want to execute as a quarterback, the timing and trust with the offensive line, running backs, receivers. There's a lot that goes into playing the position, and that's why you always see guys statistically take a massive step, usually from year one to year two. And you saw that from Stetson this year because for the first time in his career, he actually was given the opportunity to be the starter in the offseason. And then you saw a very confident quarterback go out there and lead a team to an undefeated season. Jackson Dart last year was not given the keys to the car. He had a battle with Luke Altmaier, even splitting up games to start the season to see who would eventually be the quarterback for the rest of the year. So now give him that full opportunity, like Stetson got that full opportunity for an entire offseason, and see what he can do. So I disagree. Like, yeah, competition's great when you don't already have a guy that you think is good enough. So all this is telling me is Lane doesn't think that he's good enough to be the starter, or he would not have been bringing in guys to essentially steal reps away from the guy that he wants to truly be the starting quarterback in 2023.
We solved it then. So competition breeds excellence until you have your guy, and then you just give him all the reps.
It.
Yeah, and then it hinders it. Huh, that's pretty interesting, man.
Give it to them
Andy J asks, anything to the Monken to Tampa Bay rumors? Ooh, have you seen any of these, Aaron? I have not come across these yet in my internet travels. How are you feeling about it? Because we've called Monken the final piece.
He was in Tampa before.
That led to the but I'm saying, but how do you feel about it? Because we've called Monken the final piece of the puzzle that led to these 2 national championships.
Obviously don't love it. Monken's a beast. But they got some good dudes on staff. Like Bobo's on staff, McClendon's on staff, guys that have coordinated, called plays in the SEC. It would take a step back. I love Bobo, but Monken to me is I think he's the best OC in college football. I really do.
Georgia loves Bobo.
He's a beast.
Georgia loves Bobo.
Georgia. I love Bobo. But I wouldn't be surprised either. You know how I feel about college coaching. Being a college quarterback coach sucks, or college coach sucks. Yeah. If I had a chance to go to the NFL, and especially go to Tampa, sunny weather, live on the water, hell yeah, I'm deuces. I got my 2 natties. I'm out of here.
Greg Morris says, I have blood stains in my underwear. Okay, Greg, couple things I can help you with there. First off, don't panic. It could be just slight little hemorrhoids flare up. Maybe grab some Preparation H. Also, maybe just get a little toilet paper, ball it up, just kind of jam it between your cheeks, and then you know what? You're good. You kind of have a little lining between your hole and your underwear there, and that should, most likely take care of the problem. Let's talk about some of the top new assistant changes of the college football offseason. Dabo. We don't need to spend too much time here because we've already talked about it, but Dabo Swinney got off of my college football shame list, or I don't know if I made it official, but like right after we did it, this news was announced, and I'm taking him off of the college football shit list, as Dabo Swinney probably has the best hire of the college football offseason thus far. As in case you missed it, Clemson fires Brandon Streeter, their OC, who it's a big move for Dabo, not just symbolic. It's a big move symbolically. Streeter's a guy who played at Clemson. He was an internal hire. Dabo was an internal hire back then. He loves internal hires. He fired his guy to go get the sexy name, Garrett Riley, out of TCU, Lincoln Riley's brother, OC at TCU, the guy that everybody had their eye on, Alabama, all these other rumors swirling. It's Clemson who ends up with with him in the end. So not just a good hire objectively, but also at a time when Dabo needs to show that he is willing to change with the times and he is willing to do what it takes to stay competitive. This is as sure of a sign as you have seen as a Clemson Tiger fan. That he's about it. He's about it. And I think Clemson fans needed a little bit of that reassurance because they had gotten used to occupying the elite of the elite. And while these last 2 years have by no means been awful, they have been bad relative to what Clemson was just a little while ago. And this is Dabo saying, okay, I got a great quarterback in Klubnik. I want to get back there. Aaron, with what you saw at Klubnik, is he that elite quarterback? Because a lot of Clemson fans have told me, you got a Lamborghini, you got to pair it with a badass driver. I never thought of Klubnik as a Lamborghini, but that's why I'm relying on you as our quarterback expert.
I warned people last year when you benched DJ, who I'm not defending DJ as some all ACC quarterback here, but to me Klubnik was not ready to take over, and he was a freshman, but you could even see the way he played was very, very green, and a lot needed to be done. And I think talent wise, he's good, not great. Obviously, it's hard to judge someone off just a few games, but I don't know. I just overall was not very impressed, to be honest with him. But I hate to judge a quarterback who's only a freshman. Once again, does he take a big jump in year 2? If you're a Clemson fan, you're kind of betting on that. But based on what I see, I didn't really see a very solid foundation that gets me excited about what he can be next year. But you bring in a new OC, a great OC, maybe help elevate his game, put him in better situations. Who knows? I do think at the end of the day that the big thing to me for Clemson these past couple of years has less to do with the quarterback, and that's part of it, but with the surrounding talent. Clemson hasn't been elite at running back. Clemson hasn't been elite at receiver. And when Clemson was rolling on offense for the past 7 years when they were fighting for championships, they had first-round running backs and receivers every year, along with great quarterback play. And DJ didn't really have that elite receiver on the outside. And he had a good running back. I wouldn't say like an NFL type running back, maybe the next, Hester. But like that's who they were. There wasn't that dynamic playmaking ability. So I think they're going to need some help in that area too to help Klubnik out. So yeah, I'm agreeing. Like that's the number one hire. I do like his replacement though at TCU, Kendall Briles. It's been an offense at Arkansas that's just been top half of the SEC when it comes to offensive production, and that's a really good SEC as we've seen for the past couple of years when it comes to offenses. So he's done a hell of a job with KJ. They run the ball extremely well. When they had their top receiver last year, I thought it was a very dynamic offense. So I think that's a big get for them to replace their OC with another very good OC. I know you and I both disagree on this point. Like I don't really see why Kendall left Arkansas to go to TCU. I think Arkansas's a better spot to be at than TCU.
It's not a better job. I don't know. We had this conversation on AMP, which is what
I think it's a better job.
Aaron is
it's a better job.
Referencing here. But you can say it again. Say it again. See if it changes.
I would say, if I'm Kendall Briles, I'm saying Arkansas.
Shit changes.
I'm saying Arkansas.
Ain't shit change. That's what I'm saying. Hey, you can be wrong no matter how many times you're wrong, don't make you right. Okay. No matter how many times you say the wrong thing doesn't suddenly make it right. 12 no's and 1 yes, it's probably still no. No, look, I don't see it, man. I see Arkansas team that you're just constantly fighting uphill. You're constantly fighting uphill. I don't think that's the case with TCU in the Big 12 right now. And granted, maybe there is a who said it here? Jimbo Sliced Bread in the chat said TCU gives me a flavor of the week vibe, and that some of these decisions will be regretted soon because they've also done very well in the transfer portal. But I don't know, like at a certain point we have to accept that no, TCU is a consistent Big 12 power. And I think that's what they're going to be for the next few years. And when you were talking about path to a championship, coaching teams that you feel will be on a more relatively equal playing field, I feel like TCU and the Big 12 is a better job than what you're constantly having to deal with at Arkansas. Like I just feel like at Arkansas you feel as if you're working as hard as you can, just trying to keep your head above water. And at the end of the year, if you go 8-4, that's an excellent season. Whereas at TCU, like now, especially now, you are, and especially once Texas and Oklahoma leave, you are looking at like consistently, you would think at least, competing for the Big 12 championship and or a playoff spot. And I don't think 8-4 out of the SEC gets even one of those 12 playoff spots.
I'm just looking at, the past 3 years and take out this past run for TCU because it was a magical season. Arkansas has been the better team leading up to this season.
Yes.
They've had better records than TCU. Yes. And I think Sam Pittman does bring in a level of consistency that I think you're going to see at Arkansas. Like, are they going to compete to win an SEC championship? No, but I do think that there is a pride standpoint about coaching in this league that you know that you are going against the best every single year, that you are going against the best coaches and the best players, and that excitement, that drive that you want to be a competitor week in and week out. Like, to me, it's not about the easiest path or the path of least resistance. It's about being part of something that's the best. I want to be in the best. I want to be in the NFL. I want to be in the Major League Baseball. And I want to be in the minor leagues. And what do we view the SEC as? We view the SEC as the major leagues, and we view the other leagues as, essentially the minor leagues. Like, I want to play where the big boys play. And there's a sense of pride that goes along with that too.
Like that, dude. Don't talk shit. Yeah, you want to be in the playoffs.
Texas, Oklahoma, that only separates the two conferences, in my opinion. There's going to
they're losing the team that went 6-7 and 8-5. What are we ever going to do?
One bad year for Oklahoma, and you throw them in the dumpster. There's the Big Ten,
sucks,
SEC, and they're going to continue to Big suck. Ten, and there's a massive gap to the next level. Why do I want to be in this bottom tier league when I can be in the Premier League?
Well, probably because what we're not talking about is you're probably getting paid more. TCU has a lot of money.
That's the only reason. That's the reason.
They're probably paying you at the end of the day for all this talk.
Yes.
I mean, we can have subjective debates
rules.
about who's better, but I believe that TCU's a private school, meaning I don't think they ever have to disclose what they paid him. But yeah, Bryle's probably getting paid more. Now, to your point, I think that Arkansas and Sam Pittman really recovered nicely from this going. And so they lose Kendall Briles, which is a big get for TCU. Like I said, better job. And then, but they bring in Dan Enos. Dan Enos is a guy who, you hear the name, you're like, I think I know who Dan Enos is. You start to read, you're like, oh yeah, absolutely, dude. He was at Arkansas before 2015 through 2017, and 15 and 16, the offenses were awesome. Put up 2 of the top 10 years in school history. What I found to be very impressive, what I did not realize, is after it fell apart, kind of due to injury, is what I've heard some Arkansas players claiming, and that they really like the Enos hire, like former Arkansas players. Is that what kind of got him fired there in the first place, were the injuries and everything? But in the interim, he had a stop at Alabama where he really helped to develop Jalen Hurts. But more importantly, the last 2 years, he's been the OC and quarterback coach at Maryland. And Maryland's offense has been awesome. Maryland's won a lot of games, like 15 games. They won 2 bowl games. Talia Tagovailoa has been fantastic. Like he gave Michigan all they wanted this year. So it's like, okay, that seems to be a premier offensive mind. You team him up with KJ Jefferson, as you said earlier, Aaron, maybe the best returning quarterback, arguably in the SEC. And I think it's like the Sam Pittman experiment to continue to work. He is to avoid what got Coach O in trouble. And outside of the off the field stuff and a love of busty blondes, what Sam Pittman has to avoid is he has to make good coordinator hires, because that's how he is the CEO figurehead, and he has to have elite coordinators underneath him. I think Dan Enos checks that box for him after losing a really good one.
He's proven it. Well, and I think the one thing that we that makes me appreciate Sam Pittman more than anything is his ability to realize that and humble himself. I mean, he did his first, like he said it, like, I need to bring in elite guys. And he did that with his first hire when he took over the job at Arkansas. Like, he's not afraid to say, hey man, I will run the ship. I'll be the CEO. I'll deal with all the day-to-day stuff. I need to bring in guys with experience, whether, Barry Odom was a former head coach. I don't care. I'm secure in my spot. I'm not worried about you taking over. I don't care that you have a big personality, both of you. You guys do your thing. I'll let you guys run offensive defense. And like I said, I'll do my thing. So I do respect him in that sense. Like, a lot of guys can't do that. I mean, Jimbo finally is doing it at A&M, but a lot of coaches want complete control. And they don't want to hire big personalities that may overstep their boundaries. And Sam Pittman's not that guy. What is best for the team? Okay, boom. Do we have the money to pay for him? Okay, great. Let's go make it happen. That's the type of coach that Sam Pittman is. And that's what gives me confidence that they can stay in this consistency, 7 to 9 wins, which for Arkansas is a great place to be.
Okay, well, I'll be very interested to see if I'm wrong. I got, I feel like Arkansas is kind of doomed to remain 5 through 7 in the SEC West.
Ooh.
Somebody's got to be at the bottom, right? I mean, do you think A&M's going to stay bad? Mississippi State's interesting. I think Mississippi State could go either way. I could see Mississippi State cratering. There's a lot of change, a lot of new.
I can see Mississippi State cratering. Yep.
That's what I'm saying. I could definitely see that potentially. Ole Miss, I don't see cratering. Ole Miss, I think, has more
Auburn has a lot of work to do. I think Arkansas is going to be right in the middle of the pack.
I think Auburn's
going
to have a good. I think Auburn's going to have a good turnaround next year, potentially under Freeze.
They don't have a quarterback,
but
they dropped the ball with getting Spencer Sanders because they needed an average quarterback to be competitive next year. And
they should have got Walker Howard, dude.
No,
bums.
I'm not.
All right. So there's a couple more that we could have gotten to, but we can always save them for later, right? I mean, Pete Golden Ole Miss is probably its own conversation because that ties in with what is Saban
Bill O'Brien going to the Patriots.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien going to go to the Patriots. Does Cliff Kingsbury come back from Thailand to coach Bama? Does Jim Leonard go to Bama? I certainly hope not. That'd be fucking awful. Does Glenn Schumann, your boy, 32 years old, Bama grad, 4-year GA under Saban. Does he go to? Why you say no? Everything what I just said makes perfect sense for Glenn Schumann to leave.
Why go lateral? What's a lateral move? Why lateral?
Because you would go from being co-defensive coordinator to defensive coordinator.
He's the DC.
Under
We
Nick
all know
Saban.
he's the DC. We all
At
know
the school where you graduated from. He went to Alabama to learn at the feet of Nick Saban.
And
what do
he's
you mean?
seen the
Why would he
light.
go there?
He's seen the light. He's seen
yeah.
the superiority of Athens compared to Tuscaloosa, and says, you know what? Life is
Superiority?
Good here. Life is very good. Yeah, I completely
Superiority.
butchered that word. Superiority. I was like, I tried to like drown it out towards the end. I tried to drown it out, hoping you would hear it at the end. I'm like,
oh man, a lot of people are talking about floating a river. I haven't floated a river in years. How much fun would it be if we could do a live snaps while floating a river? Just drinking beers with a computer and headsets on. That'd be sick. All right, look.
we need a golf trip. We need a boys' golf trip. That's what we need.
Yeah, we do need a boys' golf trip. I agree. You should get your ass to Mobile here in a couple weeks, Aaron. Come on down. I'm going to be doing
Bahamas, boy.
Wow. I'm going to be doing snaps live from Lad People Stadium at the Senior Bowl. That's right, boys.
Have fun.
On site. Little snaps on site.
On the beach in the Bahamas.
I'm going to Disney in a month. I can't wait. All right. Hey, hook it up, Mr. ESPN boy. Come on. Where are you at? We love y'all. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here every day, whether you're hanging out in the YouTube chat at the volume, youtube.com/thevolume. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you're there, please. If you're listening on podcasts, Apple, Spotify, it doesn't matter. Rate and review it. It's a great free way to help out the pod if you enjoy it, obviously, right? And yeah, sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook app, promo code SNAPS. Thank you, Aaron Murray. Huge thank you to our wonderful group here at the Volume, Ryan Brumley, Paul Farrington, Pat Gunner, Danny Cardenas, and again, all the listeners, we love you so much. We'll see you later, and y'all have a great day. We'll see you Monday, right, Brum?
Correct.
Man,
Monday.
these extended weekends kind of bum me out. You all have a great weekend. I'm going to miss y'all. We'll see you on Monday on a brand new episode of Snaps.